Good morning, friends. Today we will discuss about subject VLSI design and technology. Before going to start about this subject, let's understand what is meant by VLSI design, what is meant by integration, and what is the VLSI design flow. Before going to start the syllabus discussion of VLSI design and technology, let's understand where the term VLSI design occurs. Now, as in second year you are familiar with the subject electronic design and circuits. Also, you are familiar with the subject integrated circuit. Now, integrated circuit is a basic component of your VLSI design. Now, first of all, let's understand what is meant by integrated circuit. Now, integrated circuit is nothing but is a microchip, or you can say it is a small semiconductor chip. It can be defined as a small electronic device which is made up of semiconductor material with transistors, resistors and capacitors embedded on it. An integrated circuit is sometimes called chip or microchip. It is nothing but semiconductor vapor on which thousands or millions of tiny resistors, capacitors and transistors are fabricated. The integrated circuit means IC. It can function as amplifier, oscillator, timer, counter, computer memory or microprocessor. Depending on application, you can use your integrated circuit for given applications. A particular IC is categorized as either linear or digital IC depending on for what applications they are going to be designed. This is first pictorial top level view of Texas Instrument IC. This is the first IC that is developed by the Texas Instrument. This all process means IC fabrication process are going to happen in clean rooms. Now let's understand who invented this. A great scientist, Robert Noyce, which is born in 1927 in Grinnell, IA. He worked for Shockley Semiconductor Labs in America, means USA, and he along with Fairchild Semiconductor he founded in 1957 and in Intel 1968. Means Robert Noyce is a co-founder for Fairchild Semiconductor as well as Intel. And at Intel headquarters, Robert Noyce building is available in the honor of this great scientist. Its nickname is nothing but the Mayor of Silicon Valley, and where in USA now Silicon Valley where in large amount of semiconductor manufacturing process takes place. After that, this integrated circuit is improved by the another scientist Jack Kilby, which is nothing but the microchip. We are also known it is also known as microchip, and it is fabricated chip with entire components out of a single piece of silicon, where almost like a sculpture. It is a planar IC which got help from Swiss Fairchild employee Gene Honery. This is the top level view of Fairchild Semiconductor first planar IC. It is a semicircular shape. This is a typical IC which we are going to use nowadays, where all the components are fabricated and that IC is also fabricated. Now let's understand how we can make IC, means what is the IC fabrication process, what it consists of. Okay, the IC fabrication process starts with but we have to take a small round of silicon vapor which is larger than more chip, means which by using that silicon vapor we can fabricate number of chips. Then first step is we have to oxidize the silicon vapor surface, means convert that surface to the silicon oxide. Then we have to implement a mask, means carve a pattern using a mask into the surface using a light, and that process is known as photolithography. Means to implement or to print a picture of mask, to print a picture of circuit, we have to use a mask, and by using that mask we can print the circuit on that chip, and that whole process is known as a photolithography. After that we have to etch the surface, which removes the excess material from the surface. Then we have to add the metallic layers, which is known as a sputtering adds metal to fill what has been etched. And addition to this, chemical treatment is then performed, which is also known as a packaging. Now we have a chip of silicon with pattern of electronic circuit, and this process requires extremely clean environments, and all this process going to help in the clean rooms. Now what are the clean rooms? The clean rooms are the rooms where measure of air quality of the clean room is described in the Federal Standard in 2009. The clean rooms are useful for fabrication of the integrated circuit, where the no contamination of air, means small dusting particles which are present in the air, these are removed, and depending on that how many air particles are present in the air, they are classified as class 10,000, class 1000, class 100 air rooms. Means air quality of the clean room, these are measured as per described in the federal standard. Hence these are rated as class 10,000, where exist no more than 10,000 particles which is larger than 0.5 micron in any given cubic foot of air. Means in a cubic foot of 1 cubic foot of air, not more than 10,000 particles of 0.5 microns are present. Similar class 1000, where the 0.5 micron particles are not more than 1000 in any cubic foot of air. Similar class 100, where there exists no more than 100 particles. And hard disk drive fabrications require the class 10 clean rooms, means whatever the hard disk we are using in a computer, that fabrication process require the class 100 clean rooms. This is the silicon vapor from on which we are fabricating the chips, means integrated circuits, and we can fabricate from 10 to 1000 numbers of chip on one silicon vapor depending on diameter of that chip. Then here you can observe the small portion, that is one chip, and on that chip we can fabricate a chip, means it is useful for mass production of the chips, means integrated circuits. Now these integrated circuits are classified into different technologies like SSI, small scale integration, MSI, medium scale integration, LSI, large scale integration, VLSI, very large scale integration, which is a subject of our interest in this topic. And next is ULSI, ultra large scale integration. Let's understand SSI. SSI is nothing but the small scale integration technology, which is invented in 1960s, mid of the 1960s. It contains transistors which is in the from 1 to 10, means maximum 10 number of transistor we can implement by using this technology. it is crucial to early air space projects which are needed for lightweight digital computers. The US Air Force Minuteman missile, which is force IC technology into the mass production, means at that time this technology is useful by US Air Department for mass production of ICs. Then NASA Apollo flight computer, which is led and motivated to the IC technology. The second use of this IC technology used by the NASA Apollo flight computers. Now here germanium and silicon, these are used as a semiconductors in this fabrication of the ICs. Here you can observe and see different. First in the first picture shows the Minuteman guidance computer D7, which is fabricated by using the SSI, and second is Apollo guidance and navigation system, means Apollo computers at the initial stage. These are the two examples of this technology. Now second technology is medium scale integration. By using this technology is invented in 1965 and it contains the transistor from 10 to 100. Means maximum 100 transistors are present or we can embedded by using this technology. Here these ICs were very attractive as an economical point of view and their cost is very small to produce compared to the SSI devices. By using this technology, we can implement the complex systems using the small circuit boards also. And it requires very small assembly work. Then third technology is large scale integration. It is invented in 1970. By using this technology, we can implement from 100 to the thousands of transistors per chip. These LSI circuits, they are being produced in the large quantities for the computer main memories and pocket calculator, means main use of LSI technology for fabrication of computer memory chip and calculator chips. In 1970, Intel created 1103, that is which is first generally available DRAM chip, and by 1972 it was the best selling semiconductor memory chip in the world. Means by using this LSI technology, the most of the chips, that is the SRAM and DRAM, which are at the initial stage of Intel's generation computers, they have used this technology. Today you will need more than 65,000 of them to put 8 MB memory into the PC. Means this is an example what is how by using this technology how we can fabricate. And now the next technology is very large scale integration. This is a topic of our interest, means what is the importance of VLSI technology and why we are going to learn this technology for fabrication of ICs. VLSI stands for very large scale integration. This technology is invented in 1975 and onward there are many revisions are done by the various scientists. By using this technology, we can fabricate ICs or chips which contains the thousands of transistors and beyond that, means up to the millions, means 10,000 up to the million or and again we are counting in this stage. The largest chips on this technology are also known as ULSI, means ultra large scale integration. If we implement more than billions of transistors, then that technology is known as a ultra large scale integration. For the first time, it became possible to fabricate your CPU or even an entire microprocessor on a single integrated circuit by using this technology. Means by using this technology, we can fabricate a vapor and a chip where we can implement a whole microprocessor or CPU, which is the heart of your computer. In 1986, the first 1 megabyte RAM it was introduced and it contains more than 1 million of transistors. After that, microprocessor chips they are produced in the 1994, which contains more than 3 million of transistors. All these are applications of this technology. How the day by day VLSI technology is going to develop the various electronic circuits of the computer. Hence, these are main our and last is the ULSI. In ULSI, we can implement more than 1 million of transistors. Here, in this slide, whatever we have discussed, how many number of electronic components means transistors are per chip available we have given. In SSI, up to the 100 transistors means 100 electronic components per chip are present. In MSI, 100 to 1000 electronic components are present. In LSI, 1000 to 10,000 electronic components are present. In VLSI, 1 lakh to 10 lakh means up to 1 million electronic components are present. In VLSI, more than 1 million of electronic components are present. Hence, by using this technology, we can fabricate the different electronic circuit and we can implement this electronic circuit on a silicon wafer so that we can produce the mass production, and we can use this circuit for the various applications. Now, for this whole technology development, who is the godfather? Who developed or invented the law, or how this happens, means how the transistor count is going to be doubled after every 10 years, you can say. The godfather behind this is Gordon Moore. He is born in San Francisco in 1929 in America. He received the BS degree in chemistry from the University of California, Berkeley University in 1950, and also achieved the PhD degree in chemistry and physics from California Institute of Technology in 1954. He is also co-founder of Intel Corporation in 1968. Means whatever the Intel processor we are using in your computer, they are the products or manufacturer of the Intel Corporation, and Gordon Moore is a co-founder of the industry. And why what he has invented, or what for what purpose he is famous for? He is famous for his whatever the prediction for the growth of electronic industry is made by this Moore's law, and means how we can how we can fabricate the different ICs, and how we can switch from SSI to MSI, MSI to LSI, LSI to VLSI, and this prediction is given by the Gordon Moore. Now, the Gordon Moore has given a statement in 1965, and that statement is very, very important, and that leads to development of electronic industry and growth of the electronic industry. The statement is that complexity of electronic circuit, that is nothing but number of transistor count on a chip, that is doubled after every 18 months. Means after every 18 months, means 1 and 1.5 year, means 1.5 year, after 1.5 year you can say the transistor count on a chip get doubles, means we can switch from one technology to another technology. And this Moore's law is held for over 35 years, and still we are based on this Moore's law. Current PC processors works at 130 nanometer level and a 90 nanometer chip, which has recently been announced. Nowadays, as you see the ad of Intel on TV, where they are saying that now they are in the testing phase of 7 nanometer technology. Means companies are working on using the nanotechnology to solve the complex engineering problems which are involved in producing the chips at smaller level, means voltage 5 nanometer, 30 nanometer, 16 nanometer, and now 7 nanometer. Means even smaller levels they are using to find out the problems, and that process that will postpone the industry meeting the limits of Moore's law. This is the graph which shows the year and how the transistor count on the chip are going to be increased, and on the graph we have given how different processors are developed by the Intel by using this technology. In 1970 they have started by using the processor 4000, which has count of transistor near about 1000, or more than 1000. Means after that this story is going to be begin from 1970. After that 1975, in 1975 8080 processor came into the picture. Then 1980 you can say 386 processor they have developed by using this technology. In 1985 they have developed the Pentium processor. In 1990 they have developed the Pentium 1 2 series of processor, and then 1995 they have developed the Intel Pentium 3 processors, and after up to 2000 they have developed the Intel Pentium 4. And now we are using the Intel core processors i1, i3, i5, i7. Here on the right hand side you can see the number of transistor count, how the transistor counts are going to be increasing, and this is because of only a Moore's law. Means Moore's law is a godfather for development of electronic industry, and still we are following on the Moore's law. Nowadays, after that there are some certain limitations for buying the technology below the 10 nanometer, and still development is going on. Hence, this is about the integrated circuit. Now, what is the world of integrated circuit? What type of circuit we can develop by using? What are the categories of integrated circuit that can be developed by using this VLSI technology? We can develop the full custom ASICs, means application specific integrated circuit. That application specific integrated circuits are again developed in the two types: full custom ASIC and semi custom ASIC. And second is the user programmable circuits. That is also known as a PLD or controllers. Here, user programmable integrated circuits are developed into the two types: PLD, programmable logical devices, and controller. And PLDs are developed by using the two. PLDs are of the again classified into different types like CPLD, FPGA, PAL, PLA, ROM. These are the different types of PLDs. And in this subject, we are going to learn different types of these integrated circuit like CPL means PLD, programmable logical devices. We are going to learn the PAL, PLA, CPLD, FPGA. Also in unit 4 we are going to learn the ASIC, application specific integrated circuit, full custom ASIC, semi custom ASIC. Okay, this is about the integrated circuit. Now let's move toward the VLSI, which is our subject. Now to start with this subject, first of all we have to understand the design flow. What is the VLSI design flow? The VLSI design flow starts with the design requirement, you can say, and that design requirement, from the design requirement we first after the design requirement we have to draw the specifications. What are the specifications of that design? Then we have to do the design entry. Now in this design entry we have to make by using the, we can draw the schematic also, or we can use the hardware description language, which is a most important point. Hardware description language are of the again two types, VHDL and Verilog. In some cases we can also use the system Verilog also. Once you have made the design entry using the software tools, either schematic or by writing the HDL program, in this subject we are going to learn the HDL language, that is nothing but the VHDL, very high speed integrated circuit hardware description language. Once you have done the design entry by using the HDL, then you have to perform the synthesis process, that is also known as the logic synthesis. Logic synthesis is a process which converts your hardware description into the netlist, and during this process again you have to perform the simulation process, means functional simulation or pre-layout simulation. Simulation is a process which verifies the functionality of your design. Then this is a logical part. After that we have to move to the physical parts. Then system partitioning and floor planning. Then system partitioning and floor planning means where to embed your particular block on the chips. Hence you have to divide your system into the, means partition your system into the different blocks, and particular blocks you have to put. After that you have to perform some, use some placement and routing algorithms, how to do routing, how to minimize the delay, which two blocks should be placed side by side. And these all should be done by placement and routing algorithm. Then you have to perform the physical verifications. After completing this by using some rules, you have to perform the physical verification. Also you can use this different tools. Then finally your prototype is ready. You have to fabricate your prototype and perform the testing. Then again, testability is a important concept which we are going to learn in the last unit. And after that, mass production is ready. Okay, and during this process, you can also perform the layout, post layout simulation at the different stages. This is the physical portion of this VLSI design. Now, which software tools are available to design these circuits? Different softwares tools are available like Xilinx, Actel, Altera, means Intel. Okay, Xilinx ISE, Integrated Simulation Environment, which provide the synthesis and simulation for this process. Again, Altera, that is Intel's Quartus tool, is also available, and Model Sim Simulator along with this Quartus tool, you can do the, it means you can fabricate your IC or simulate the perform this process. Then Actel tools are also available. Again, for fabrication of these circuits, you can use the Cadence or Synopsys tools or Mentor Graphics tools that are very useful. Cadence and Mentor Graphics tools are very useful for fabrication of that chips. Okay. This is about the VLSI design flow. In next lecture, we will start our subject, what are the syllabus contains, and we will start our unit number 1, chapter number. Thank you.